Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, Twitch chat. Welcome back to Let Us Play. I'm your host, Father Evan. It's good to be back with y'all today. I hope everyone had a good weekend. I hope the whole CrowdStrike fiasco didn't affect anyone too badly. My poor brother and boss, Father Dave, uh, canceled on 3 times. It was pretty bad for him, but he got to his destination in the end. But we're going to be diving back into some Kingdom Hearts today, some 358 over 2 days. So let's go ahead. Take it away, Meep. So last time we did... Well, we did lots of missions. We also went into coma for a bit. And now we're out of the coma. But now our friend Shion can't use her Keyblade. So we're like, we'll go on missions together so we'll be able to get hearts and they won't know the difference. So, good to see you, Nanakit. Good to see you, Catholic Brick. Good to see you, Mesozoic Mind. Your younger brother's flight was not canceled. That's good news. Okay, so we just have Agrabah in the castle. I am doing pretty well. Had a nice weekend. Pretty nice and quiet, but otherwise pretty good. How about yourself? I know you're sharing with me some harrowing details of getting home. Glad you made it home safely. So our orders are to investigate a cave this time? Right. Axel and I found the last time we were here. There's a hidden entrance in the city. How? Wow, how did you stumble across that? By accident, mostly. We spotted somebody acting fishy, and Axel suggested we tail him. And that led you to the cave? Good call on Axel's part. So you ready to explore it? Yeah, the hidden door is down that way. Come on. Oh, Roxas is so floaty. Shion, you're incredibly calm for someone who's on fire. Lots of things: exhausted, grateful, hopeful, racked, pain, healed, and awe. Well, sounds like it was a good Congress. Uh-oh, we're not alone. Oh. Wait, are you concerned about the Heartless or the monkey? What do you want to do? Like we have any choice. It was good and beautiful. They are just utterly beautiful. Nice. Let's clear them out. Roger that. I thought your ice magic might be a bit more effective, but, you know, here we are. Okay, bye, monkey. Hey, monkey. I saw him here last time, too. Hey, Roxas, look. He dropped a materia. Maybe swipe something like this. What do you think? Should we leave it? It's ours now. You may not get a chance to return it, but if you don't pick it up, somebody else will. I guess I'll hold on to it. Might come in handy. Oh, my sweet innocent children, they have no concept of money. Okay, let's head for the cave. He had some intense periods of prayer and adoration, literally sobbed through the entirety of adoration on Friday and Saturday nights. Big healing and growth in very good ways. Nice. I'm glad to hear that. Actually, you might be able to answer a question for me. I saw that they were celebrating Holy Corbana one day, which I think is awesome. But they didn't the thing I saw didn't specify which rite. So I was wondering if you happen to know if it was like Maronite or was it from a Syriac tradition. Well, Maronite is Syriac tradition, but I can't think of Uniate church names and play Kingdom Hearts at the same time. We have discovered that this day. And poof, the one who touches it disappear. Oh, if only it were that easy. Well, I was just wondering if maybe you had been there and you happen to remember. You don't have to check. I can do my own Googling later. No, up. Yeah, meet 15 IRL friends. Nice. Oh, Ciro Malbar? Nice. So Ciro Malbar is the Indian tradition, so that's East Syriac. Although I found it weird that they didn't do Divine Liturgy of John Chrysostom, but there's a draft on the other side. But I can't just smack it. You do Dust and Mass at the same time. Can't do everything. Nope, not what I wanted. Maybe. Okay, no, I can't investigate the sand. Investigate anything suspicious. How about the giant lion-shaped cave entrance out of sand? Hey, what do you make this? Oh, there's a hole here. It's like something's meant to fit inside. I wonder. Oh, it looks about the same size as the gem I found. I was surprised that they did Holy Corbana, but they didn't do Divine Liturgy of John Chrysostom. It clicked right into place. Guess that explains why the monkey found it. It was here to begin with. It should probably stay here. Ready to dig a little deeper? We've come to this whole area. What's next? Well, let's head further into the cave. Okay. Well, I was wondering how I would know if I had found everything in an area. They gave an answer. Oh, they had okay, then I just didn't see anything online about that. That's good to know, because I was like, it just seemed like an odd choice. I'm glad Corbana was at the main stage arena area. Instead of being relegated off to a side and being largely forgotten by the rest of the attendees. Yeah, I imagine there are probably so many different liturgies going on that you know, obviously they wouldn't be able to cover them all. Hey, Step Zero, good to see you. The American release of Japanese game wherein you're playing through an American animation studio's interpretation of British panto version of probably French story recorded by an Englishman purporting the story to be Arabian. Ow. That was Inception, the comment. Seems like a lot of people often underestimate the number of Syriac Catholics relative to Byzantine Catholics. Just like Syro Malabar and Maronite churches, there's a substantial number of people. Yeah. No, I think a lot of the Eastern churches honestly get underestimated in their U.S. population. Excuse me, Heartless, I did not ask your opinion. What is this thing? When in doubt, give it a good smack. Xion knows what's up. Also, there's one symbol on it. That weird vision we had, there were 2 and 3 on the other ones. I wonder if it could mean something. Am I good at knowing religious abbreviations? I know a handful off the top of my head. Okay, there's number 3. Do I know what FE would be? Nope. I'm wondering if it's Felician something? Like Felicians of the Eucharist? That or they just take their iron supplements every day. Okay, so you have to hit 2 before you can hit 3. So where is 2? Is 2 down here somewhere? Is it in the rafters of this one? Franciscan Sisters of the Eucharist of the Heart of Jesus, FEHJ. Franciscan Sisters of the Eucharist of Chicago. Well, there you go. No, it's all good. You're good. How did we get up there last time? So I wanted to get away from the wall. I may not be able to get this away from the wall. This may just be a red herring or whatever. Actually, let's see if we can investigate this crack really quickly. No, we are dead set on these switches now. Roxas and Shion are sharing the single brain cell and it's not working so well. Yeah, I feel like I've hit a weird dead end. So grateful I was able to receive Mass this week. That's wonderful. That's powerful to hear. Oh, that's how you get up to this portion. That's right. You just fall, because that makes sense. Nope. The floor is cracked. Oh, so it's been this way for ages. Everything just fell into place. Yeah. Sure others are grateful too? Oh, absolutely. I have a feeling this is going to open up the pathway in that chamber. This level is in no way trying to pad for time and make you do the same thing over and over again. Yeah, magic blocks out of nowhere. Huh, so the switches were there for those steps. Let's go see what it's about. Okay. But I made it through the door. I was in the door! That was cheating. Wow. Praise the Lord for such a healing. Meanwhile, I was at the theater all weekend. That sounds like a good weekend, too. Maybe we should wrap things up before the whole place comes down. What's this statue? It's holding a jewel or something. What if we touch it? I think that's all we're going to find out right here. I don't see any more doors or switches. We must be at the end of the cave. So, what's the verdict? Well, we searched the cave top to bottom. Let's call it a day in RTC. Sounds good to me. Hey, who are you bozos? Oh, I know you. Here for the magic lamp, are ya? What magic lamp? Don't try and play dumb with me. You will listen, and you will listen good. That lamp is official property of Pete. That's me, you got it? So you goons can keep your dirty mitts off. Mate, I don't know who you are or why you're picking a fight, but you brought this on yourself. Sounds like a nice gaggle of plays to see. Winter's Tale, that's exit stage left chased by a bear, right? You puny little punks. First I can't find that dag-blasted lamp, now I gotta deal with these weirdos. It just ain't fair. Good job, Pete. Zoinks. Like zoinks, Scoop. Aw, this can't be good. I'm out of here. That's darn it, Pete. Hey, wait! Come on, Roxas, we can't stay here. Yeah, you're right. Hurry! As he just stands there. Whew, we made it. Just barely. So I take it that was the guy? Wanted me in access? Yeah. Pete, I think he said. He kept going on about some magic lamp. What he meant. Ah, Roxas, behind you! Huh? Ah! What am I looking at? You okay? Yeah, doesn't seem hostile. It's attacking the music, though. I think it likes you. Figure that one out. Yeah, figure that one out. Da 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 da. Yeah. Who are you? Who am I? You want to know who I am? Yes. Well, all right then. One personal introduction coming right up. The name's Genie, formerly of the Lamp, but my friends call me by my first name, kids. And this is my good friend, the Magic Carpet. Nice to meet ya. Yeah, likewise. Hey, come on, you can do better than that. I mean, why so glum? Feeling a little blue? Believe me, I can relate. Get it? Because he's blue? Yeah, no doubt. So, who are you kids? We're... Psst, Roxas, change the subject. We're, change it to what? Me, I was just swinging by Agrabah to check in. When all of a sudden, Carpet here decides to put the tassel to the metal and take off. He says he spotted a friend. A friend? And that friend is me? I know, crazy, isn't it? I tag all ready to reminisce about old times. But I have no idea who in the cosmos who you are. You sure this is a friend of ours, Rugman? Anyways, Agrabah, is that the city over there, right? That's the one! My buddy Al's hometown. Why, when we first met, Al and I were inseparable. Inseparable? Yep, until Carpet and I took off on a well-deserved vacation, which you might call a mini world tour. But we got to worrying about how Al was doing. So we figured we'd pop back in to check up on him. Why are you worried? Is there something to worry about? Well, sure, it's only natural to worry about your friends. I worried about how things were going with Jasmine, how the city was holding up. And once I get something on my mind, I can't knock it out. Tried everything. Dynamite, sledgehammers, tweezers. Well, I don't know about anybody named Al, but the city's in rough shape. They've been fixing it up. Right, they keep getting hit by sandstorms. What? Why do these things always happen the minute I leave town? Alright, stand back. A little magic, I'll have this place whipped back into shape. Your friend Al said this isn't a job for magic. He what? He said the people living there should be the ones to fix it up. Oh, well, if that's Al's final word, I guess that's that. You're not going to help out? Al said no magic, right? I'd love to just fix the place, but even a genie's got to respect his friend's wishes. I guess so. Should get back Roxas. Yeah. Still, I doubt he'd mind a teensy-weensy speck of help. Well, they weren't going to solve that on their own. And with that out of the way, enough stalling. Who are you two? Oh, forget who. Where are you two? Good job, Genie. Master detective work. Hey, mission go okay? Yeah, I think it's gonna work. Thanks, Axel. You and Roxas are the best. We try. Eye cream. Burkta time? Absolutely. So where'd they end up sending you? That place you and me went before? What was its name? Agrabah. Oh, the city in the desert. We sure ran into some interesting characters this time, huh? You mean Pete and Genie? Genie sounded really worried about his friend, some guy named Al. But I guess you can't always jump in and do everything for your friends, even if you want to. That's right. People need their space. So why did Genie say he and Al were inseparable? Yeah, it's not like they were conjoined at the hip. Well, I think you can be inseparable even if you're apart. Really? Sure, if you feel really close to each other, if you're best friends. What's it like having a best friend, Axel? I couldn't tell you. I don't have one. That is a bald-faced lie on several levels. Oh. Roxas is his best friend, as was Issa. Roxy, wrong! You can't denigrate my friends. I denigrate my friends. Let's get that extra level up in here. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea just to have Blizzard. Actually, I'm going to even replace Fire with a Blizzard there, just to up its level. Can I explain why Jesus is so cryptic? Okay, that's a question that that no one can answer. Like when approaching Mary Magdalene, did he appear as what she thinks is a gardener first? He does that to other people too. Isn't clear that Jesus until it says their name. Yeah, so in this case, there have been multiple explanations of the Feast of Mary Magdalene being today, of Jesus not appearing as himself. The three big ones are, one, Mary had tears in her eyes and wasn't seeing clearly. Two, Jesus was dressed like a gardener, which I think is my favorite explanation. There's a great painting in Santa Maria sopra Minerva. Hey, Kevin the Reader, thank you for the resub for 14 months. Tier 2, thank you very much. Where Jesus literally has like a big sun hat and a shovel on his shoulder. It's like, what? The third is in the resurrection, the glorified body is different enough that it wasn't immediately recognizable. Regardless of the physical mechanics as to why she doesn't recognize, there is a dimension in which that personal invitation, overcoming that barrier, is the core thing. We see this at the Road to Emmaus Supper. There's a personal invitation. There's that connection, and that is how it is with Jesus and all of us. It's not just a blanket invitation. There is a personal relationship and invitation for all of us. Glad I could help. Oh, Kevin the Reader's set for 3 months in advance. Oh my, thank you. Well, may as well continue on the theme. Well, we'll do that after this cutscene. We have to investigate the castle today, right? Right. Well, we'd better be careful not to let anybody here see us. I guess. Guess? Yeah, I mean, last time I was here, the place seemed deserted. All I heard was... never mind. What? I saw a clock walking around, okay? I heard this roar like an animal, a big one. I don't know. I guess we might find out today. I guess so. Let's get started. So, Rotunda. Let me do... Or, I guess... let me do the Rotunda really quickly, Britt. Yeah, Mary Magdalene. Today's the feast day of Mary Magdalene, patron saint of Salt Lake City, interestingly enough, as well as France. But one of Christ's followers from early on, we hear she anointed him, she came to the tomb, and she has the distinction of being given the title Apostle to the Apostles, that she had this very unique role, that it was her, above anyone else, who was to announce that the resurrection had even happened to the other apostles. This crate's covered in dust. It's been a while since someone used this room. And it's just the way that we can be apostles to others as well, carrying out the word. But one of my favorite stories of her is she actually preached so much she went to the emperor, to Caesar in Rome, and she carried an egg being a symbol of the resurrection, and the tomb because hard shell like the tomb, but life bursting out from within. And when she was preaching the resurrection to Caesar, he was like, "Ma'am, that egg has more chance of turning bright red than your Jesus does from rising from the dead." And before he'd even finished that sentence, the egg had turned red. And this is the legend by which Easter eggs actually kind of became a thing. So I really like that legend. Uh-oh, what did you make for you, Enza? Ooh. Ooh, that's cursed. Little, mushroom emote. I have a heckin' of scared. Alright, Britt, what was your second question? Also good to see you, Yenza. Hope you're doing well. Well, I'm glad you got to hear some nice conversations too. The store is locked. Brilliant, brilliant observation. I am doing well. Oh, that's good. Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. It sounds like Jets had a good weekend. Look at the gashes on the wall. What make these claw marks? Some Heartless? So my kid's book is in the stages of proofreading now. Hey, that's awesome! That is awesome, Mezogmind. Congrats. I'm glad to hear it's moving along. Yeah, the difference between... I mean, really the core of your question is what's the difference between the Synoptics and John, and that's just... The Synoptics are all operating out of a particular oral tradition of the stories of Jesus being passed down, whereas John is operating out of a later theological tradition. And so John isn't necessarily so concerned with what is the historical footprints. Could be Heartless. They're big, whatever they are. So John isn't necessarily like, oh, well, you know, we need to make sure that all the dates are right, unlike the other three. He's more like, what are the ways that I can highlight things in this story to help convey the underlying truth? So, like, one great example is Jesus... Are these breadcrumbs? Maybe someone laid out for the birds? The castle isn't deserted after all. So Good Friday, chronologically, has been, in the Synoptics, Passover is on the Thursday, and Good Friday happens the day after, whereas in John's Gospel, the Passover sacrifice happens on the same day that Jesus is dying, to the point that the lambs are being slaughtered at the same time that Jesus is dying, to really hammer home the point that Jesus is the new lamb. Which he's not wrong, but he really wants to go out of his way to make sure you understand this. You're hoping release date will be announced soon, maybe later this year or early next. That's awesome. Congrats. Yeah, just kind of depending on like what the goal was of the author and how they were highlighting it. The master is in quite an unfortunate mood today. Roxas. I heard it too. Oh, if only he would leave his chamber house. What do you see? Would you believe a walking, talking candelabra? Oh, come on. Huh, you weren't kidding. I love the casual. Huh. Beats me. But it did say something about a master. So you figure it's one of the castle's servants? Sounds crazy, but maybe. Well, that covers pretty much everywhere we can get to. Okay, let's think this through. Now, Candelabra mentioned something about a master, right? Yeah, that he won't leave his chambers. Well, maybe whoever this master is has a room or something down at the end of the hall. Want to go find out? What? But... Ah, we just need to slip by without being noticed. Really think we can? Well, I know we can't go back empty-handed. Sykes wouldn't be too happy about that. As long as we're careful, we should be fine. Okay, if you say so. Yeah, we've already done sneaking stuff. Why are you telling me again? A bucket and mop? I can't imagine trying to keep this place this huge clean. Exactly, which means they have a lot of servants. Wait, why are that bucket and mop sentient? Thanks for the answer to the bird. Now that we have rolled with that unofficial acronym, I like it. Oh, that's a big dog. My lights just flickered. Burp. More claw marks. The Heartless have really been out of control here. Yes, the Heartless. Oh, that statue's seen better days. Footprints. Big ones. Heartless? I don't know. They lead to the room back there. How is this not suspicious? Nana Kit has redeemed a father joke. This is a great one. It's classic. 2 drums and a simple fall off a cliff. It's so funny, it's even meta. Think this is the master's room? What was that? Short cliff. You look at what's going on from inside there? Whoa, what is that thing?
Oh, how dare she not join me for dinner? This is my castle, and it is my wish.
My castle? Is he serious? Well, Roxas, there's a weird monster inside. Whoa, what is he? I don't know. Got away from the door. I don't want him to see us. Meep. He is the castle's master. Sounds like this castle belongs to him. Do you think? Call this place my castle. Doesn't get much clearer than that. Huh, then I guess he must be the Beast. Beast Castle? Makes sense. You've been calling it Beast Castle and you didn't know who the Beast... I think it's too soon to say. You're probably right. We shouldn't jump to conclusions. Although, these gashes in the wall, you think he made them, not the Heartless? He must have been fighting something, that's for sure. Or throwing a temper tantrum. A beast with his own castle and a candelabra for his servant? This place is quite a story behind it. Well, we know what the master looks like. I think we can report back to Sykes now. Yeah. Want it to RTC? Oh, step 0. Thank you for the 300 bits. I assume this means you want to do the candy thing. Yep, time for terrible candy. Hold on. Terrible candy wheel, go, go, go. Where are we ending today? It's the candy that smells like floor cleaner. I'm an honest man, but a plain dealing villain. You should have Meep in the middle of the wheel. I can't quite because that's a separate website. Oh. Yeah, it still smells like floor cleaning liquid, but here's to you. Step 0, DiMaggio. Mmm. Mmm. Woo! Woo! Who designed these things? Who eats these? Yeah, good, yeah. I mean, if you like sour, it's very powerful. Oh, my eye is literally watering. Mickey Mouse has entered the chat. Sour candy can't defeat me. I'm made of sugar. It coats your teeth. So like I can feel my teeth when I close my mouth. They're designed by a team at Burnett Sweets Ltd. and eaten by you. Next question. Fair dinkum. And 2 weeks have passed. A fortnight. They sell it in powder form? That sounds like a chemical weapon. Lord Xemnas has summoned us. I'm back. You missed some sour candy, but
The time has arrived. Look to the skies. There hangs the heart of all hearts, Kingdom Hearts, shining down on us at last. See the countless hearts that have been gathered, hearts full of rage, hate, sadness, and bliss.
Ah, yes, the four emotions.
There in the sky hangs the promise of a new world. My friends, remember why we have organized all the things we hope to achieve. The strength of the human heart is vast. Soon, though, we will have gained power over it.
This isn't even your real goal.
Never again will it have power over us.
We did that. Me and Shion were working together now. Genie we met in Agrabah said he and his friend Al were inseparable. Maxwell told us best friends can be inseparable even when they're not together, but it sounded like he wasn't sure about it himself. I thought I knew Axel. Knew everything. Oh well. That reminds me, those weird pictures flashed through my head when I was in Agrabah. The guy in red I wrote about before. Has he been to Agrabah or something? Oh, my sweet summer child. That'd be really nice. Hey, are you remembering to grab treasure chest, Roxas? How about a little friendly competition? I've got 80 chests open by now. If you can match that, I'll give you a prize. You game? Hey, it looks like you've hit 80. I guess you just won yourself this. Well, look how little Kingdom Hearts is. The edgy Moogle is a lot. We like Organization Moogle. He's a cutie. Ah, there it is, right out that window. Kingdom Hearts. What do you make of it?
Kingdom Hearts thirst for hearts, a thirst only your Keyblade can slake.
Nice use of the word slake, my dude. So why are you sending me to fight Neo Shadows? They don't give off hearts. Heartless we're after is called Neo Shadow, right? I hope we don't wind up searching all day. Let's head through the hall. What kind of sour candy is it? It's Barnett's Mega Sours. It is the most sour candy I've ever had. Like, so sour it hurts. It's good. More sour than a pickle? Oh, way more sour than a pickle. Way more sour than drinking pickle juice, and I've done that. Sour pickle. Sour pickle candy wasn't sour, though. It just tasted bad. Surely there must be a way to get the bell and the master to forgive each other. It's that candelabra. Yeah, the one we saw before. If they don't, I shall be a table decoration forever. No, I will speak to Mademoiselle Belle. Perhaps she can talk some sense into him. I do not apologize to the French for my accent. I don't get it. The candelabra doesn't want to be a candelabra? So this bell person lives here in the castle. They were cohabitating? They said something about getting her and the master to forgive each other. I guess they've been arguing. She'd have to be brave to stand up to a beast like that. Never apologize, especially to the French. You're assuming Belle's human. So far, nobody else seems to be. Good point. Well, we're not here to worry about her. Let's find the Heartless we're after. Right. You guys are actually going to be shocked when you find Belle, and it turns out she's in fact human. Whoop. Oh! How strange. Oh, he almost spotted us. We need to be more careful. Rox says, I don't think we'll be able to sneak past him this time. Yeah, we should look for another route. The castle this much big have secret nooks and crannies. The only solution is war? That escalated quickly. Oh, I'm getting to the sour secondary core. How dare you be fake? I'll get to the Neo Shadows in a moment, but first, treasure. I want to take a look at this sword really quickly. Oh, they did a good job of capturing that. That's actually a mini-boss in 2. Spoilers. Oh, wrong door. Supposed to go through the upper door. War is the problem, and war is the solution. I pledge my life to the Emperor of Mankind. Hey, Brayhard. Roxas, up there! Oh, let's take it out. Ooh, combo tech. Mission accomplished. Yeah. Ready to head back? We can stop for some ice cream and... No, there's more of them! Grrr.
The Heartless do not belong here. Not in my castle.
Thanks, Beast. Whoa. So he has been fighting the Heartless. Apparently. These two do not have a single thought in between their pretty eyes. They're just like, yep, turns out. I guess this castle plays by different rules than ours. What do you mean? That beast is the master here, right? Right. And Xemnas is our master, right? Right. But if Heartless showed up in our castle, we'd be the ones to get rid of them, not Xemnas. Well, yeah, that's our job. Exactly. I figured it worked like that everywhere. I thought that's what being master meant. After all, he's got the servants here. He shouldn't have to fight. I don't know if I'd call us Xemnas' servants exactly. She's got a point. She's like, yo, Roxas, you're drawing some interesting conclusions. But you're right. If he's taking the Heartless on himself, he must have a good reason. He's a giant beast? Like what? Like, maybe he has something he wants to protect. Let's call it a day, Roxas. Axel's probably waiting. Yeah. Herb. Huh. I was expecting there to be a treasure chest or something up here. Hey, you two, how'd work go? You keep pulling off double duty? So far, so good. Roxas took today's Heartless out in no time flat. Well, great. Keep it up. I don't know why we need to continue fighting Heartless like this. Sure you do. We have to finish Kingdom Hearts. We finally got our first glimpse of it today, remember? Yeah, but what is it? The heart of all hearts? It's where all hearts you and I collect wind up. Exactly. It's because of you two and the Keyblades that we're finally making some progress. We might finally get the hearts of our own. The strength of human heart is vast, Xemnas said. Yeah, but what do we need with it? Are you crazy? I just don't understand why having a heart is so important. Do you? Kind of a strange time to bring it up. But don't you ever stop and wonder? We're fighting for something we don't even know anything about. Roxas, we're fighting because we want to know what it's about. Yeah, I guess you're right. Treasure magnet. That'll be nice to have on the board. Day 95, no buddies. Xemnas summoned us. Nothing he says ever makes any sense. He showed us Kingdom Hearts, a big heart-shaped moon floating up in the night sky, and said the human heart will never have power over us. Great, I guess. So why are we trying to get hearts again? Axel said I'll understand better once I have a heart. I'm not so sure. Oh, Roxas. Ready for another day? Good luck with work.
Have you been completing challenges? You ought to. Show me how well you can perform the challenge for Mission 16.
We could. We're not going to, but we could.
Kingdom Hearts thirst for hearts.
You said that to me yesterday, man. It's still kind of creepy. You're reading a book right now called Echoes of Truth, Christianity in the Truth of Lord of the Rings. Does this make me a nerd? I mean, your username already was Brayherd Lord, so... I don't think you have to worry about earning that title. You're hanging out in this chat. You're safely a nerd. Get your hearts dunked on. I feel like there are Heartless hiding over here. I was right! Nope. Oh, well, whatever. Just enter into this area this way. Oh, large armor. And it's being protected. Quit running away! Your large armor, I have proven that I can beat you already by proof of concept. Please just fall over. Quit having so much health. Rude. There we go. RTC is authorized, but we're pretty close. And I think if we go up here... there's the last treasure chest. Let's at least get that. I wonder if we enter through that door, if there's going to be Heartless up there. Or they're just going to randomly spawn right in front of us like this. There will be Heartless everywhere, except when you need them to be everywhere. Then they'll be on vacation. Did I defeat you? Apparently not. But that's all I needed for the extra completion, so... Come on, Axel's waiting. Okay. Another successful day. Of course. Where'd they send you, Axel? Ah, the place you guys hit yesterday. You mean the castle with the talking candelabra? That's the one. They need me to do a little digging through the dust and cobwebs. How about you? Art collection in Agrabah. Same as usual. You're really getting the hang of working together, huh? I don't know how much longer we can fool the other members, though. Relax, we'll be fine. Don't be too sure. They're not too stupid. Guess we'll have to cross our fingers. Well, maybe Sykes and Zigbar are tough to fool. But come on, Demyx! Ouch, Roxas, that's not cool. Aw, but look at him. All he does is play his sitar all the time. I don't think you give him enough credit. He works just as hard as... Okay, no, he doesn't. I'm pretty sure he has... But I'm pretty sure he has a job. You know, I've seen Demyx out of the field rocking that sitar of his. What does that accomplish? Hey, for all you know, he's out there fighting Heartless and doing recon, just the same as you. But I've heard him say that he wasn't cut out for combat. I guess everybody in the organization is good at different things. Yeah, Demyx is good at being Demyx. That's right, everybody's unique. Even nobody's? Don't you need a heart to be unique? Nah, you 14 are unique people. Oh, I think we have other things that set us apart. Like our pasts.
Dun dun dun.
What past? You remember stuff from before? That's one of the things that makes the organization members special. Unlike lesser nobodies, we remember who we were. I don't. Me neither. Well, maybe that right there is what makes you unique. Wow. What kind of person were you like before you were a nobody? Oh, basically the same. You know, I don't know. Same guy, more or less. Lucky. I wish I could remember. Trust me, you're not missing much. Who needs baggage, right? But I can't remember anything, not even my first week as a nobody. Whatever. You have trouble remembering things from 5 seconds ago. Oh, thanks. I'm like you, Roxas. I don't remember much from the beginning either. You two do have a lot in common. Huh, I wonder if that's a sign or something. I wonder what kind of guy I was before. You are both just parts of the protagonist and or Sora. Look, everyone is either Xehanort or Sora. I don't want to spoil what Xion is, because I want to see the story continue to unfold, but also, Weird Guy in Red and Naminé. We know who Naminé is because we've played Rechain. Ooh, hidden abilities. That's actually really nice. Xion's Keyblade, but she doesn't have it. Hey, Roxas. Morning, Xion. You ready for another day? Xion, Roxas, I need you on separate missions today. What? Why? 2 major Heartless targets have surfaced in 2 separate worlds. Roxas, you take the Beast Castle. Xion, you go to Agrabah. But how could... Never mind. Whoa, you're gonna send Roxas to Beast Castle? I don't know. I was just there yesterday for recon, remember? I saw the Heartless you're talking about. You don't want it to pit Roxas against that thing, not by himself. If I send them both, who's going to handle Heartless and Agrabah? I will. You. Sure, I'm a big boy. Except you can't collect hearts. So what? I'll keep the Heartless out of trouble. Then they can hit it another day. Is that okay with you, Sykes? Fine, but this is the last day. Starting tomorrow, you both work solo. Alright. I don't know about this. Oh, it'll be fine. Everything's fine. Still can't synthesize that thing. I came into a small fortune in aerial techs on my last mission. If you bring me a moonstone, I'll trade you one. Sure, I have lots of moonstones. But I don't have many aerial techs. Say about yourself another day. Let's see how well that lasts. Okay, so what do we have? Already have power, an ability on the weapon. Okay, and I think that's the perfect place to go to a commercial break. So take a couple minutes, get up, stretch your legs, get a fresh drink of water, do what you need to do. We will be right back. And we are back.
Let me be clear, today is the last day I will permit you to work as a team.
Okay, Sykes. Eliminate the bully dog.
Don't think for a minute I believed that.
Believed what?
That reprehensible performance.
Uh-huh. Well, I'd better get over to Agrabah. You okay? I don't know what I'm gonna. I don't know what I'm gonna do when I can't read things. I don't know what I'm gonna do starting tomorrow. It's no use. What about my Keyblade? Can you control mine? If I haven't finished the Horse Heresy main series, how much of a problem if I skip straight to Siege of Terra? That's a great question. I've never actually read any of the novels, so I don't know. I imagine probably pretty fine if you know Traitor Legion's bad, Emperor good, or Marine. Like, I think it'll be fine. I guess I can. And go ahead and use it for the day. But Roxas, maybe it'll help you remember how to summon your own. What are you gonna use? Well, I've got a stick. I can improvise. My sweet idiot child. Roxas, that's a stick. Hey, you managed without the Keyblade. I can do it. Just take it. It's fine. Okay, if you're sure. Thanks, Roxas. I wonder if they're going to do some twist that one Primarch with wings being killed in some sort of final showdown or something. Nah, they'd never do anything so predictable. Oh no, my stick does very little damage. I appreciate that the stick still does damage, though, unlike the wooden sword you get for Sora. I've been thinking about saving up and getting one at a time the Primarch figures from Games Workshop. I think those would be a really cool thing to display all of. Also, which winged Primarch are we talking about here, Breakert? I mean, I bet Kovis Korvax is fine. Doesn't Korvax wind up hiding in a beaten-up VW bug listening to MCR for myriadic years? That sounds like something Korvax would do. Again, I'm not super familiar with the lore, I just like the game. Ferris Manus has a good head on his shoulders. I don't know, I think Fulgrim disagrees. Wait, how can you open chests without a key? Roxas is just apparently really good at picking locks. Okay, I can't just keep fighting everything. Oh, hello, Cogsworth. Oh, the horrid creatures plaguing the castle have been kept the master from seeing Belle for days. There has to be some way to bring the two of them together. That clock. You mentioned Belle. Remember the last time we were here? The candelabra was talking about the same thing. The servants seem awfully interested in making sure Belle and their master get along. Wait, since when did Cogsworth have a French accent? He's British. Since I decided so. Hey Mel, good to see ya. Only that they could be together is such a rush about it. True. Well, let's just focus on our target. Right. We have to slip by here without being seen. You didn't notice that I went live. I blame Twitch. Good to see you, Mel. How you been? How was your weekend? Okay, whatever. Your weekend was healing? Nice, I'm glad to hear that. Mine was good. It was just kind of quiet, honestly. I had one mass, and on Saturday I just kind of took it easy and hung out. I had the bonus stream on Saturday. That was fun. The city of Boise should be renamed to Duncan. You could live in Duncan, Idaho. I wouldn't be... I mean, knowing Idaho like I do, I wouldn't actually be surprised if there is already a Duncan, Idaho. Probably near Moscow. Not Moscow. 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 It's a weird way they pronounce it. Sorry, Roxas. I'm taking your Keyblades just made things harder for you. Right next to God Emperor of Idaho. I love God Emperor of Idaho. It's got the finest Walmart in all of Idaho. It's fine. No need to worry about me. How about you? Has using it jogged your memory at all? Nothing yet. Sorry. Ah, don't be. I'm sure it'll come back to you soon. Don't sweat it. Yeah, thanks, Roxas. Oh, look over there! Big purple dog. Does this make potatoes the spice melange? What do you mean, make it? You can't make melange without water, and neither can you grow potatoes without water. It's all fitting together. Thanks, Roxas. You can have this back. Did it help? Do you remember how it works now? I don't know. Let me give it another try. Believe in the spleen of the cards. You did it! I don't believe it! Roxas, it worked! Thank you so much! Can't wait to see Axel's face when we tell him about this. Come on. Okay. Roxas, why don't you summon your Keyblade to prove it's... Whew. Axel! Hey, hey! What are you grinning about? How's your mission? Oh, loads of fun. Would it kill the Heartless to hold still? I fell right on my butt chasing this stupid thing. Nice. Didn't I hear you tell Sykes you were a big boy? Very funny. How'd your caper go? Ta-da! I'd like to dedicate this Keyblade summoning to my good friend Roxas and Axel. Me? I didn't do anything. Sure you did. If you hadn't spoken up for us in the morning, me and Roxas would have had to split up. And then Shion might never... Hello, voice crack. And then Shion might never have remembered how to use the Keyblade. Thanks, Axel. Plus the John Deere in his irrigation, plus the plowing and going of him. May his combine cleanse the world. Tractor and combine, bless the Lord. How about an ice cream then? Huh? Buy me one, and we'll call it even. You got it. Wait here, I'll be right back. I hope we always have each other. Yeah. What's gotten into you? A heart? I just want these days to last forever. Hanging out, the ice cream, the sunsets. Nothing lasts forever, man. These are all a bunch of nobodies. But, you know, we'll still have each other, even if things change and we can't do this anymore. Yeah? As long as we remember each other, we'll never be apart. Got it memorized? Wow, actually, that sounds ridiculous. What? I thought it was pretty deep. Heh. Ha 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 ha. I like Northern Idaho, it's pretty. Ooh, pack extender lets you carry 4 additional items. That's nice. I mean, I feel like we've been saying a lot of bad things about Idaho. I guess you could say we've been dunking on Idaho. Or more accurately, Duncan. My past. I went to Agrabah today with Shion. We're a pretty good team. Afterwards, me and her and Axel talked about us and the other nobodies. The ones who make it into the organization are powerful enough to keep their memories, except most of them, a couple of them don't, because Demix has no idea who he is, Larxene has no idea who she is, Marluxia has no idea who he is, Luxord may or may not, I'm just saying. Today's mission was with Shion in Beast Castle. I tried loaning her my Keyblade, and she had no problem using it. That meant I had to fight without it, but we got the job done. Afterwards, Shion remembered how to summon her own Keyblade, so I guess we're out of trouble. When we're done, we had ice cream together. Oh, Mel has redeemed a father joke. You know, someone was telling me the other day that they want to play guitar really badly, and I said, well, that's easy. Anyone can play guitar badly. It takes time and effort to play it well. You think your father has actually said that one to you? Oh dear. I'm sorry if I triggered anything. Working solo again now. Kupo! I salute you, Kupo! Still need Power Tech Plus and a premium orb. Orb! Whew. I'm glad we're good. We're good. We're good. Finally able to hack it on your own. Hey, Roxas, remember our first mission together with the treasure chest? Still opening all the chests you find? How about the ones in Mission 29? I didn't, and Sykes was asking about it. Maybe he's got something in the works, you know? Anyway, tell me to find them all. I don't know, did I find them all? Nope. And I'm not going to. Hey, Roxas, do you think you'd lend me a shining shard? I'm all out. Sure. Thanks. Take this. We'll call it Squaresies. Squaresies. Who calls it Squaresies? You'll be working solo again starting today. I've prepped new missions accordingly. The fitness of future missions by conducting an assessment of your luck. I'm being graded on my luck? Hey, Profichinandi, welcome to the channel. Thank you for the follow. Why are there samurai in here? Who put samurai in a jar? They go in the Tupperware container. Whoop, time to get out of this corner. Okay, I think my only hope now is to make sure I can break all of these. Nope. I want whatever that is. Give it to me. Dang it. Okay, that was weird. I wasn't expecting it to respawn with like that. Your mom gave you a St. Paul Family Catechism, 2 years older than you are. Aw, nice. Go fight the thing. Simplest mission. Now you want to 3D print a cube with Z's on each side. Block Z's. Oh, there you go. Okay, let me roll this die. It came up Z. Really? Can you re-roll it? It's going to come up Z every time. Wait, why is Demix with me? Like, just Demix is here. No, just reason. I think that's a design of a Heartless that it only shows up in this game. Why else own complicated computer age at home manufacturing facilities? Not for dumb jokes. For the memes, my dude. For the memes. Go away, I just want to open this treasure chest. I like that to attack with his sitar, he just literally throws the tuning forks at someone. Also, his sitar apparently only has 3 strings. I believe the normal sitar has 12. Ooh, new area. Get down here. I know you're an aerial master. It doesn't mean you have to stay so high up in the air. It's the younger little sitar. Sitar Jr. Please, please, Mr. Sitar was my father. Call me Sitar Jr. Of course, I can't really do that joke anymore for myself, you know, if someone's like, oh, Mr. Cummings, I can't go, oh, Mr. Cummings was my father, call me Evan. It's like, no. Call me Father Cummings if you're going to use a title. And it puts a smile on my face when I can book it. Because, like, some airlines, when you book a flight, will let you put whatever the title is, and they'll have Reverend in the drop-down menu, and I'm like, sweet. Because not every airline does that. I mostly fly Delta, which doesn't. But if I have the option, by golly will I. You'd use a title if you had one. Yeah, exactly. Like, what's the point of... It's exactly why you get titles, right? I see you. I will fight you, but I want to get this treasure chest first. How are titles organized when you have more than one? There are rules for such things. I think it can depend on like what the kind of titles they are and like the order in which you got them can sometimes matter, I think. And then like if they're interrelated, so like properly speaking, you only use Reverend Doctor if you have a doctorate in ministry or something related. You don't use it just because you happen to have another doctorate. And I know the two guys we actually ordained this year are both medical doctors before they came to us to be priests. So technically they can use both Reverend and Doctor, but they can't use Reverend Doctor. Yep, Deacon Doctor can be in front, and then that can vary too, because if it's like, you know, he's a medical doctor in his full time and a deacon as local church, then like, yeah, he can use both. It gets complicated. I've always wanted to get a doctorate and then teach a class, and the students would be required to refer to me as Professor, Father, Doctor in that order. And if they said any other order, I would not respond. The thought has never entered my head of just calling you Evan now. And now that I heard you say it out loud, my face looks like I should say something sour. I mean, in the house, we don't use titles. Like, that's one of the things that we're very intentional about in the community is, like, no titles. Because we're brothers. But, you know, obviously, publicly, it's still Father Evan or... D-Blade still working? You said, DD, why are you drinking? Exactly, we're peers in the house. And if I'm close friends with someone, like, in a public... Like, when I hang out with certain people, like, I don't expect them to call me Father. In fact, it's kind of weird. It's more just like, look, I'm your friend, just call me Evan. You know, obviously, if I'm in a public ministerial setting, don't just go out yelling Evan. But they know that and they respect that. So, you know. That's good. I would all to you and Axel. Eat your ice cream before it melts. I have to imagine in the house it's something like an episode of Father Ted. I can neither confirm nor deny. Look at Axel, he's bright red. He always is. Shut up. A DD, a Deacon Doctor.
Vanquish the unidentified giant heartless threat.
What do you mean it disappeared? It just, like I said, the sandstorm moving across the desert up and vanished. We can finally go outside the city again. Oh, that's wonderful. What a relief. Hold on, we still need to watch out for the Heartless. They've been sighted around Agrabah, even after the storm cleared up. You have to be careful, Jasmine. I'm gonna go make sure everything's okay. Alright. I want you to be safe too, Aladdin. Bad Scarlet Tangos. I came here to cha-cha, not tango. I have a feeling this giant threat is outside the city where we just were. This would be more impactful if you hadn't taken me here on an optional mission beforehand. Oh, that's a problem. When they said giant, I wasn't expecting that giant. In case we ever feel like doing the missions. I might do some of the missions off screen because it's not a bad way to get a few extra levels. We don't need no stinking badges. Badgers? Badgers? We don't need no stinking badgers. From the hit Weird Al Yankovic film UHF. Badgers, where? I don't know. I think there's more possums in the Catholic Twitch community. Oh, you're big. You're a big boy. We oughter be looking out for them. No, no, no. Those are mustelids. Mustelid we be doing this again? Way to skunk my pun. Where are you? There, that's where you're spawning. Well, you found Shia Hulud. Yeah. Shia Hulud the Heartless. Rude. Rude! Oh, those are bombs. He is a terrible letterer. Masatar the Mink. Oy. And now the world shall belong to the rich and the powerful. Didn't you say the meek would inherit the earth? I'm sorry, what? I can't hear you. You'd have to speak up. Never mind, that's okay. Now we're back to this nonsense again. I got out of the way of his space laser. We will ferret out every last pun. I can't bear this. My last name comes off at the end of the alphabet, so I was very mad. Often last. So last shall be first really sits with you. Nice. Yup. I'm the younger of two sons, so the story of Cain and Abel always was weird. I'm the younger of two sons, so the story of Cain and Abel always hits a little weird for me. Or Zane Adams. Your family seems to do sets of 3. Well, my dad's side of the family, the older son always has 2 boys, and the younger son always has 1 daughter, and that just has repeated multiple generations. Oh, they're up there. Eh. That takes effort. How did things look? Eerily quiet. There are definitely fewer Heartless out than before. Any twins in the family? Not that I can think of. Yeah, I can't, and I've done a decent amount of genealogical research. I can't think of any twins. You make that sound like a bad thing. Now I can finally relax a little. Or at least focus on getting things rebuilt. Roxas, how'd you get up there? It's like you're a cat. I'd say that's another case closed. You've got something on your mom's side? Ah. Yeah. Oh, stop. I'm not that scary. Are you trying to give me a complex? It's not my fault you pop out of nowhere. This from the guy who vanished into thin air last time we met. Well, anyway, I'm glad to see Al's doing all right. Now I'm going to enjoy the rest of my vacation free from worries. You're not going to say hello? Ah, nobody ever told you that three's a crowd? Well, it's time for the crowd to clear out. He looks so bad. I don't know, I think his model's fine. Considering this was a DS game. What's that guy's story anyway? Did he used to be a genie in a lamp? You really want to know? Ah! It's a long story, amigo. Long, long ago, before time was... Never mind, then. Oh. That's the face of a murderer. Yeah, it's Genie's face. Okay, then. This time it's so long for real. Roxas, how did we get up here? Oh, bring Rug back. No, they're on vacation together. Plus, Rug thinks we're Sora, so it's kind of awkward. I guess it's because Rug doesn't have eyes. No, that's already happened in this game. It's like Rug was there and it's like, ah, it's a friend. We know him, and Genie's like, what are you talking about? Secrets. Secret tunnel. Ever heard of knocking? Tell me what Xion has been doing. How should I know? I'm not spying on her. But the two of you are close. So what? Now I've got a rat on my friends to you? Get out of my room, man. You and Xion will be executing your next mission together. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. You paid me a personal visit just to tell me that? We also need you to go back to Castle Oblivion. We? Or you? That castle hasn't given up all its secrets. And there's one in particular Lord Xemnas is especially interested in. And he won't get it from you. You mean the chamber. We turn that place inside out. If it's there, we're not going to find it by just looking. Then let me give you another incentive. Namine isn't the only one who can trace her beginnings to Castle Oblivion. Xion comes from there, too. Huh? Two of your favorite people. Still think another visit is a waste of time? Whatever. You're the one who wants me to go. Don't try and dress up as a favor. Let me guess. That chamber will tell you everything you don't know about Xemnas' true agenda. Is that the idea? The Chamber of Repose and its antipode, the Chamber of Waking. Xemnas isn't telling us something. And the missing chamber, the Chamber of Waking, it holds all the answers. We need those answers to gain the upper hand for our own reasons. Huh. Look, I knew Vex and Zexion would be obstacles. That's why they're not here anymore. When have I ever complained about the dirty work? I cleared the way to the top for you. Just do me a favor and don't trip on the way up. A solo mission in Castle Oblivion. Expect the orders soon. Naminé and Shion?
Hey,
Hey man, you missed your amigos. Team Axel already left. Team Axel? Yeah, he and Shion teamed up for the day, which means they got to work half as hard, which is totally unfair. Today you get to work with me, Tiger.
huh?
Don't call me Tiger. You like Kiddo better? Or maybe you'd be mad because Poppet got the best nickname.
Oh,
Ugh, never mind. Today we get to explore a new world together. Pack up, Tiger, and let's get moving. No, Sigbar. Dig up. Dig up. Every day after work, the three of us have been going to our place at the top of the clock tower to have ice cream. We don't talk about much, but I wouldn't miss these conversations for the world if Axel and Shion feel the same way. Do other organization members have their own routines? It's hard to picture. Hey man, sorry to bounce on you like this, but you got any iron? Sure. Here, take this, man. A power tech. Nice. How's your game? Well, that's a meta question. Get yourself in gear, Tiger. Roxas, in light of your excellent performance, we've decided to award you a new rank. Additional goods can be had at the shop now. I've also authorized you to synthesize your own weapons panel, a skill I suggest you acquire. Ooh. Your new rank means I get to show you the real goods, the hottest commodities, the cream of the new stuff, Kupo. Plus, it earns you the right to synthesize weapon panels, Kupo. You should try it, Kupo. Well, always buy a level. This one's auto life. Allows you to recover if all your HP runs out. Only works once. So it takes up a lot of spaces. It's 3 wide. But that is pretty good. We'll keep that in mind out. Won't get it right away. May as well buy the slot releaser, though. Fearless Gear Plus. Transforms your weapons and allows you to string incredible combos. So given based on price, I'm back again. Just heard a story about a coworker of an incredible encounter he had with a stranger this past week. Ah, so much fruit is coming from the Congress. That's good. As well it should. I don't know which of these is the most powerful, but I'm guessing it's going to be the dual gear, given that it costs the most. I don't have any of the components. Well, I have the combo tech, but that's it. Flower resistance magic bracer is nice, because that would include leaf bracer. Gonna get this fearless. Well, honestly, Nimble Gear is probably pretty good because we do so much air combo stuff anyway. I'm gonna grab this magic unit as well because then our cures can't be interrupted, which would be nice. Okay, so the Nimble Gear. Let's do some rearranging. Then we got a backpack, bought a level, and we can put probably another ether in. Oh, I need to figure out where to put air slide. Put air slide there. Put the blizzard there. So that's HP plus 20 and defense plus 8. I think we could buy a better ring, honestly. I know this is the most boring portion. I apologize. This one gives a really nice boost to defense. I think I'm going to go with that one. Because they'll up my defense by 4. It does lower my HP, but I figure if you have higher defense, it doesn't matter. It's a cool looking Keyblade we got now. Counterpoint, who needs defense or HP when you just don't get hit? Yeah, have you seen me play? I'm sending you and Sigbar to New World today to conduct recon. I bet this is Tarzan's world. Oh no, it's Olympus Coliseum. Can I do a BRQD3? I'm acknowledging praising his stuff, but my focus is not that great at the moment. Yeah. I'll do my best to parse out Sleepy Brit. Do the apes have hearts? Yes. You means heart of the world. All right, let's make with the investigating. Haul it back home. What are we investigating? We are investigating what's to investigate. Maybe there's new recruits around. New recruits? What kind of people does the organization look for? Nobody's. You mean with a capital N? Bingo! You know, somebody turns into a Heartless if the darkness gets their heart, right? Well, say this person's heart is strong, real strong. Sometimes you wind up with sort of byproduct, a nobody. Take that, the strongest of those, the real cream of the crop, stick them in a room, and you've got us, the organization. I don't know if everybody was such an elite. Have you met Demix? Elite, as if. You and Shion are the real exceptional ones. What? Why? This investigation brought to you by Smacking Heartless. Whoa. Looks like the conversation hour's over. Time to tidy up, Roxas. Chat did not pick that up. You'll be glad to know I actually removed Moobot's anger around long messages. I decided it wasn't actually helping. Yeah, I was having some problems with Twitch chat, just like as a viewer myself, a few days ago. Like, every few messages was like, your message was not sent. It could be because of CrowdStrike. It depends on if they use them as a service or not. I know a lot of folks did, obviously. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in the position we are. There you are. I've been waiting for you. Huh? Welcome to the games. What took you so long? I got everything set up. Come on, hop to it. You want to be a hero? And that takes time. What? But I'm here to train. I know. Save your breath, kid. You're gonna need it. By the way, nice moves you got back there. Herc told me you had potential. Gotta hand it to him. He's got an eye for talent. I don't couch anyone, you know. Hope you came ready to sweat, kid. Welcome to the games. No, I think you got wrong. Zigbar, tell... Well, thanks, Zigbar. Your fighting's better than your stand-up routine, kid. Stick to what you know. You got a name? Roxas. Okay, Roxas. I gotta go double-check the training equipment. Meet me inside the Coliseum when you're ready, and don't take all day. Okay, how should I have responded? Well, I can't change how you've responded. That's... Wow, Roxas Moonlighting is a wannabe hero now. Zigbar, why'd you leave me like that? To hide, duh. In case you forgot, the organization runs a stealth operation. Well, yeah, but still, this worked out pretty well, wouldn't you say? How'd you figure that? You don't have to sneak around that you're one of them. I'm sure you'll be the best wannabe hero they've ever had. Wannabe? What's that supposed to mean? Heh, what indeed? Hey, you're bailing on me? As if. I just don't want to get in the way of your valuable training. I care about your future, Roxas. Shut up, Sigmar. But yeah, let me finish this cutscene. Fine, I'll handle this myself. I should do some recon here first before heading into the Coliseum. Anyway, how do I feel not discouraged when a friend says she doesn't like a religious order because some of them have done iffy things and were asked to leave her old college's campus? I personally know people in the order that were wonderful. I felt like a weird position if wanting to respect her experiences and agreeing that they were iffy. But I love those I do know in the order. I can say as someone who is in an order of such a situation occasionally, it is awkward and weird. And there's a value in both honoring your experience and her experience. Like, both are valid. And you don't... First place is a leaderboard. It says Sora. What are these leaderboards for? You know, you don't necessarily have to come to an agreement on experience. Like, you can both have your own and say, yeah, both are valid. And if she doesn't want to like an order, no one has to make her. I feel like she's making me... felt like me liking those I know in the order meant I wasn't agreeing with things were okay. I mean, that's on her, really. That's in her heart. And that is tough. I mean, it can... Human beings, we naturally want other people to like us, especially good friends. We naturally don't like conflict. So it's sometimes just sort of admitting that and being like, yep. Okay, this is going on. I have to jump just to Setsu's knees. Is worthwhile and helpful. And, you know, being able to say, you know, we can agree on individual realities, and, like, say, yep, okay, things individuals of this community have done are not our favorite. But we can still... But, you know, there's still a valid order. You know, and the church is big, you know, that just because we don't like the way someone does something doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong. Like, we can disagree on that, but, like, it might actually be bearing fruit for the kingdom in ways we don't realize. Because the church is big and there's a lot of us. And human beings are weird and unique in the midst of all of that. And we live and move and have our being together in it. And it's, you know, and so, like, my heart goes out to you. Like, I know that's a tough and weird situation to be in. But, you know, sometimes all we can do is go, look, I know you have some problems with this order, and I don't disagree with your points on that, but that's not going to mean I stop talking to my friends. After seeing the video that 2 Trains posted from the conference, whoo boy, are there a lot of us. Yeah. People have interestingly strong opinions on Jesuits, but the only ones I've actually met, Brother Carl Lamongo, seemed like a pretty cool guy. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, and here's the thing. I know Father Jim Martin is kind of like the big name. I know him personally. He's really not what most people think he is. Yeah, and you know, you're allowed to tell your friend like, "Hey, I feel like I'm in an uncomfortable position." And Mel is absolutely right on that. You are absolutely wonderful and blessed for having thought about it that way. What I've said, this must be the winners. This guy who came in first again. Soracles! Guess he'd be the toughest guy. I wonder what he's like. Anyway, seems kind of like quiet for an arena. I don't hear any cheering. Competition must be over for now. So much for sneaking into the stands. If I want to do any more recon, I'll have to pretend I'm here to train. He was at an airport and she saw one of the priests that used to be at her college. I was avoiding eye contact and told me. She added he was an order I know a priest in, so it was awkward. That's fair. And, you know, you can acknowledge her awkwardness in that moment, and that's just a way to be with her, but kind of in the long term to also be like, you know, you may have awkward feelings around this particular priest, but, you know, he's still a priest. That still counts for something. That still counts. We trust in God's grace. Finally, let's get started. Yeah, glad to help with Burkadoo 3. Break barrels for points. Yeah, and to thine own self be true. Well, let's just hope you guys steep learning curve. Next time, go for 100 points minimum. No. All right, Roxas, let's call it a day. Not too bad for your first time in the Coliseum. Keep up this pace and you'll do just fine, kid. Which is good because we need all the help we can get. Yeah, and sometimes what people think, like the word heretical gets thrown around a lot too much, I think, in a way that's uncomfortable. Like, just because you don't like the way someone does something doesn't mean it's invalid. You know, you can say you don't think that's a good way to do it. Like, there's another discussion to be had, but I think going straight to the H word of heretic is sometimes a little much. Oh no, I knew you weren't using. I'm saying in like general. Like I'm speaking more in a generality here of like internet discussion of what we see sometimes, and it's just like let's pump the brakes and let's not, you know, help with what? Why are you looking around for new people to train here anyway? I guess you could say we're understaffed. So there aren't strong people around here? What's you crazy? We got ourselves a bona fide hero. The champ in these parts is my prize student. Maybe you've seen him in the Coliseum before. What does he do here? What? Wait, are you saying you signed up for hero training without even knowing what the games are? This voice is terrible, and I apologize, but I won't apologize. Oi, let me break it down for you. There's a hero and a ginormous monster. They fight, people come to watch, and this is what the whole place is for. At least until those Heartless started showing up in droves. With back-to-back matches of the games and taking out the Heartless, our team's been working way too much. So the games are like a tournament? Do I get to enter? You, in the games? What's so funny about that? I got 2 words for you, kid. Outta your league. You know, that church stuff is usually terrible. Yeah. But you gotta promise I'll give you that. You got promise. I'll give you that. But you'll need a lot more training before you're ready for the big time. Well, so this is place some sort of games. It's stands all around that arena. People must come to watch. I wonder if they'd let me to compete if I kept up with the training. Either way, I can RTC now. I've had a pretty good look around. At least this is IRL, yeah. Hey, Phil, I'm back. It's about time, Hark. That new trainee scout has showed up already. Really? Wow. He said it would take him a while to get here. He must have made record time. He probably just couldn't wait to start training with yours truly. Not that I can blame him. That kid's got guts, I'll give him that. Wait till you hear this. Uh-oh. Phil was training the wrong person. Roxas must be working late. Hope Sigbar isn't giving him too hard a time. Yeah. Hey, Axel. Hmm? You know how you were talking the other day about we all have our pasts? When I sit here with you guys, it's weird. I get the strangest feeling I used to watch the sunset with somebody else. Or when I'm by the sea. And I look at the water and hear the waves lapping against the shore. It's almost like I can hear another voice. So, you mean you remember something? No, it's not quite like that. Well, I don't know. Maybe these are memories. It just seems weird that they're mine. Redacted. Don't ask me. But you have memories, don't you? Yeah, not that they've ever done me any good. I guess I'm more like Roxas. Neither one of us remembers much. I wonder if he and I had this much in common before we were nobodies. I can neither confirm nor deny. Oh, hey, we needed that. Lazy day. Is this the beach episode day? It is the beach episode. Operations closed for vacation. I forgot about this bit. Vacation? What's that? Oh, hey, Roxas. You hear about the vacation? About time we had a day off. I've never had a vacation before. I'm only 117 days old. Is that right? What's my job during vacation? What's it? Roxas, you're really missing the point. It's not my fault. I've never had one. I don't know what to do. Do what you like. But I don't know what I like. What are you gonna do, Axel? Me? Sleep. And once I'm done with that, roll over and sleep some more. Oh, Axel, my man. Don't you spend enough time in bed? You kidding? I nap 6 times a day if they'd let me. Amen to that. All right, Snooze Land is calling. Enjoy your time off. Was ist vacation? Can I be Axel right now? Can I be Axel always? Oh, Shion. Hey, Roxas, good morning. Did you see the notice posted? Yeah. What are we supposed to do with the day off? Eat more ice cream? Well, I was thinking I'd practice. Practice? Yeah, I want to get really good at using the Keyblade. Why don't you join me? Nah, I'll pass. Fine, emo boy. Really? Okay then. Come find me if you change your mind. He's vexed by the concept of vacation. What am I supposed to do? What do I want to do? That's an existential question. Ice cream. Took him long enough, but he got there. Ice cream. Woohoo! Go, Hayner! Keep it up! No more. I'm done. That was amazing, Hayner. A new record for sure. Ugh, now I'm all tired. Huh? Pence? Who's... Hey, I know you. How's it going? Hey. On your own today? Oh, did you find your friend? Huh? Oh yeah. Friend of yours, Pence? Yeah, I bumped into him a little while back. Oh, well, it's nice to meet you. I'm Olette. Nice to meet you, too. And I'm Pence, but you already knew that. What are you all doing? Watching Hayner here practice his grandstander act. Grandstander? Yeah, you keep hitting a ball in the air. Try to keep it from touching the ground. Hayner's one of the best in town. You new around here? How come you're bothering us? Bothering? I'm not... Sheesh, I'm just passing by. Uh-huh. Well, keep passing by then. We're busy here. Hey, Hayner, don't be rude. There's no need to be mean. Moonwolf1221, welcome to the channel. Thank you for the follow. Yay, more people who are playing this game. Yeah, I really like 358, and I hope it does get a remaster at some point. Because I think it actually does have a really interesting story. Then gameplay... The beginning is very slow. That is my biggest critique of the game, is it's very slow to start with all the tutorials. But other than that... Oh, sorry about that. I'm sure you didn't mean to offend you. He's just... Hey, you try it. Let's see your juggling act. What will that prove? It's not gonna kill him. Here. No thanks, I already have a weapon. Hit the ball and propel it into the air. High score, 0 points. Okay, we're actually going to call it there because I actually have to wrap up. So I have to wrap up for the day a little early. But we'll continue next time with the rest of the beach episode of Vacation. So thank you so much for tuning in to Let Us Play. I've been your host, Father Evan. It's been good to be with y'all today. Join me again tomorrow for Spirituality Tuesday. We're playing Thomas Was Alone. It's one of the most interesting 2D platforming games I've ever played, not because of its gameplay, but because of its story. So that'll be a lot of fun. So that's tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wednesday, midweek Minecraft. Thursday, more Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis. And then next Monday, more Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days for RPG Monday. So thank you so much for everyone for tuning in. Thank you for all the likes, follows, subscribes, checking out the YouTube, all that good jazz. And I hope everyone has a great rest of their day. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Other than 4 times a week, Monday through Thursday. So we're gonna raid on over to Junie. She's celebrating her 1-year anniversary of streaming. So I'm gonna go give her some love. And again, I will see y'all tomorrow with some Thomas Was Alone. So yeah, thank you very much. Yep. Yeah. Sorry, Moonwolf, you came in just as the stream was wrapping up, but you can always check out my YouTube channel. It's got all of the VODs. I've already played through 1 and Rechain of Memories over there. So yeah, so we're gonna head on over to Junie, give her some love. Raid message will be Father Raid. Spam the Meat Morp if you've got it. And I hope everyone has a great rest of their day. Take care and God bless.